All right, so we're gonna do another ellipse here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make more of like a square-like shape. So I'm gonna do, let's see, 2 vertical lines. Two horizontal lines. And again, if you're new to using a triangle, make sure the edge of the triangle is matched up with the edge of your paper. This ensures that you get nice straight lines. So I have my little square here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those points to the vanishing point. So I'm gonna take this point here to the vanishing point. This point here to the vanishing point. Make sure everything's nice and neat and lined up. This point here to the vanishing point. And then the reason why I don't do the last point up here is because it goes through my face. I don't want that. So at this point, I can cut off my box now. So I'm gonna use a vertical and a horizontal line to cut off my box. You'll find it a little bit easier for this lesson if you make a longer box, but you can certainly make a shorter box. You'll just have more condensed lines in a smaller area. So vertical, vertical, horizontal, horizontal. That's my box. So I can now erase any kind of excess lines, because I don't need them anymore. At this point, I need to figure out where the back of my box is. So how I figure out where the back of my box is, I look at the back of my box, and I look at this point here, and this point here. I'm going to draw a vertical line and a horizontal line. So I'm going to take my triangle, I'm going to line it up to that point, that edge, and I'm going to start to create the back of my box. I'm going to do a dotted line so you can see what I'm doing. So there's my vertical. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my horizontal. And if I have any excess lines, I can just erase them. If you are the type of person that gets super confused with a bunch of lines on your paper, you can certainly erase this line right here if you want to. But I'm not going to do that just because I know what I'm doing. But it's a matter of preference. You can erase this back line if you want to. In fact, you know what? I'll erase it so you can see. That makes it easier for you. Okay, so at this point, we're going to start subdividing our faces, our front face and our back face, so that we can start to sketch our ellipse. So I connect the diagonals. So I cut it diagonally this way. I cut it diagonally this way. So I have a large X on the front side of my face. I'm going to do the same thing with the back side of my face now. So I'm going to make a gigantic X on the front and then the back. So I'm really just subdividing my front and my back face. I'm then going to take that gigantic X and I'm going to subdivide it even further. So I'm going to take my triangle and I'm going to create a vertical and a horizontal line. So my vertical and my horizontal line to further subdivide my X. Again, make sure that your triangle is lining up. and I'll do a dotted line so you can kind of see what's happening in the back. At this point, I'm ready to start sketching my ellipse. Now the points that we have to touch on our box is here, 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 and here. Same thing with my back box. Here, 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 and here. So where I drew those dots, that's where the edge of your ellipse is barely touching. So at this point, I can go ahead and start sketching my ellipse. So I always start with like a little happy face, and I round it out. And again, this takes practice. I should see people rotating their paper so that they get a better ellipse. Gives you better leverage when you're drawing. Just gonna sketch this out. And I don't expect your ellipses to be perfect the first time around. Usually mine aren't perfect the first time around. But I'm just lightly sketching out my ellipse. All your edges should be rounded when I grade these. So if there's a flat side, you're gonna get points taken off for that. So round it out. I'm gonna look at my ellipse. There's some sides that still are a little bit wonky, so I'm going to sketch over them. But I'm looking for nice, well-rounded shapes. I'm going to sketch this out a little bit more. If you've got the front side, you can start on the back side. My ellipse in the back is much, much smaller. So I'm going to sketch that one out. And I have my ellipses sketched out now. The last two steps of this is that I need to connect my two ellipses together. So how I do that is I take my triangle, I'm going to line it up with the vanishing point and kind of wiggle it over a little bit so that the edges of my ellipse touch and meet the vanishing point. And I'm just going to draw a line to connect those. Same thing with the top. I'm going to take my vanishing point, line it up with the top of my ellipses, and then draw a line connecting those two pieces. The last step, again, is to erase everything so you only have the face, the side, and you can see that back rounded area.